Alright, Shalom family. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. Alright, check it out, Hebrews. Man, I've been noticing, kind of lately, the Israelites, been coming out in the media, hinting, saying, oh, we Jews or this or that, something in relation to the Israelite heritage. And then one basketball player just come out and then promoted that. Then it's a bold move. Promoted that video from Negroes to Hebrews or Hebrews to Negroes. I think I got a copy. I watched it a long time ago, and I was kind of impressed then when I didn't know what I know now. Not to be knocking the video down, but some of the stuff be like kindergarten history and stuff when the Israelite, just waking up, then compared to somebody that's been in it, for a long time. I ain't gonna say professor, but scholarly. You know what I'm saying? So, we way past that, and then that's what I want to talk about. Is that a lot of Israelites don't know this? They don't know this, and if they knew this, then they wouldn't fall into their trap because man, the Jewish community got mechanisms set up to protect the history and their heritage, and they can create words and meanings and then enforce those words and meanings, and then because they are the administrative people that develop the governments in Western society, that mean they can enforce those words and meanings and make them lawful, and then you can become prosecuted by it. Now, how they get the power to do this? I explained long time ago that the people we Israelites abandoned our heritage to got by 4 ancient civilizations, not counting the empires they done been involved with and been in control of, but how they was in control of the Sumerian Empire. In its beginning and development, they were the keepers of the gods' history. They mastered the Akkadian civilization and empire. You know what I'm saying? The Akkadians, they mastered it, and then they had mastered it so good, man, to where other ethnic groups can come in, man, and they can enslave them and make them disappear by the administrative structure that they set up. We Israelites are functioning under administrative structure where your health is defined legislatively, and then how that they can legislate your health away. They've been doing that for a long time, and then they got rid of a lot of groups in the past, that fell up under their administrative control. But this is what I want to say. Any Israelite using or claiming Jewish people's history gonna be seen as an anti-Semite. Plain and simple. You have to learn truth. If you using the Jewish people's history and you don't know that you using the Jewish people history. See, a lot of Israelites don't know that we abandon our heritage to the Jews, to the Jewish people. Specifically the self-hardest. We got chased out by one, but still it's all abandoned the heritage because we had the opportunity to stay, but we didn't have the faith in Almighty Yah like we supposed to have, like we got now. We ain't got nothing but to believe in Almighty Yah. But in the past, when we was on the land, man, we'd rather believe in some false gods and stuff. And we got chased off the land. And some peoples settled in our heritage and start building their heritage off of ours, since we ran the way into Africa to do the Egyptian religion, totally abandoned our heritage, and then one group been in our heritage since Exodus. That's going to be the Sephardists. They are Amorites, from Sepharvaim, Sipper, from Babylon. Well, they Amorites, period. And they been in our heritage a long time, So, I'm going to try to explain this, man, when you Israelites man, I pray can get some understanding, is that whenever you using Jewish people's history, and they have a history, and you using their history, and you can't pinpoint, man, you can't pinpoint dates in the stages of when they come into our heritage, and you just grabbing anything that say Israelite history and claiming it as our own, then you gonna be anti-Semite, because you're not Semitic. You're not half and half. You know, we know the root word to Semite is semi, and that the word semi means half and half. You know, half and half. You know, semi means half, half and half. You know, half this, half that. You know, that's what the word semi mean. And let me look into it a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because the word semi, which is the root word to Semitic or Semites, not Shemites, but Semites, is that it's half and half. And the reason that that title fall on the Jewish people is because nobody on the face of this earth gonna be in the mix with all the ancient biblical tribes, like the Nephilims, the Hittites, the Moabites, the Ammonites, they are Amorites, the Havites, and all the ancient tribes they mix with. And then they are traders, man. They went to other lands and they would mix and fuse in with the other folks in those lands. And that's where that title semi come from, is because they're half of everything, everybody in the ancient past. You know what I'm saying? And let's see if this will give it a little up, because we got to understand that Western language and its meanings and stuff, you know what I'm saying, that they got total control of it. And if they see that it's challenging the Jewish community's heritage, then that word will disappear and become obsolete and become meaning something else, you know, with the stroke of a pen. Like that word Sephardim used to translate into Sephardi. That's not on the computer no more. The Israelite Brotherhood made them take that down. They not using that no more. And for people in the past, if they don't come across this truth that the Israelite Brotherhood showed, they'll never figure out how the Sephardists and Ashkenazi got into the Israelite heritage. You know, they'll never know. But, you know, all praise be to Almighty Yah that He did bestow this information, you know, on me, and that I'm giving it to the Israelite Brotherhood, the Israelite family. All right, now look, let's look at this word. All right, semi, a combining from bar from Latin, mean, and they the founders of Latin. The Sephardi's are Amorites. You know, I just finished watching the video about the Phoenicians, and the Phoenicians was basically the Canaanites, them, and then how did they dominated the whole Mediterranean and the coastlines, and they was the dominant traders, non-contested. They was the middleman taking goods everywhere. And then how did they got on over here to the Americas? And then that's gonna be from this Babylonian tradition. You know, the Canaanites sacrificed their kids and stuff, and then the snake worship and the Zaggarites and all that. Men gonna come from them folks getting over here long time ago, the Nephilims. That's why I be telling the Israelites, they be trying to say that the Israelites are from the Americas and so forth, that you don't know what you talking about. Them folks had snake kings, snake serpent kings that ruled these part of the world, and this was dominated by the Amorite culture and so forth. All right, man, the word meaning half and half, semi, meaning half, freely pretext English word of any origin else, sometimes with the sense partially, incompletely, somewhat. Semi, all right, but you know the word means half. Semi word form and element of Latin meaning half. Now we not in explaining plenty of videos how Ashkenazi and Sephardi created the English language from the Germany and then Latin language combining, and then how the English language was, created and so forth. But meaning half, also loose, part, partially, partial, almost, twice. You know what I'm saying? Semi, but semi means half and half. You know what I'm saying? Half and half is what semi mean. You know what I'm saying? Let's look up another word. All right, half, semi. So this is the root word to Semitic. It couldn't exist without semi as its root. This is the root to Semitic. It is semi, and it means half, partial, resembling or having some of the characteristics, uh, you know, uh, 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 whatever, but it means to be half and half. And then we know that the Semitic peoples, that the Semitic peoples is gonna be the, the Amorites in the Bible, the Amorites in the Tanakh, because the Amorites mix with all the ancient tribes. All the ancient tribes, that was a problem in the Tanakh, was that the Amorites we had to get rid of, and all the Canaanite tribes and those associated with it, because they had mixed with the giants. And the giants, we know, that's a direct link to the serpent. You know what I'm saying? And even old Edom had mixed it with the Hittites. And we know Jerusalem is founded by an Amorite and the Hittite. And I can show the Moabites mixing with the Amorites, as well as the Ammonites being taken over by the Amorite Sihon, and then when we left Egypt and coming into the promised land, that we had to deal with the folks that had conquered the Ammonites and the Amorites, which is going to be the Amorites, and how the Amorites was fused in with the giants. You know what I'm saying? So that, we understand this in the Tanakh history that the Israelite Brotherhood show. And I've been showing this and got plenty of videos about it. You got to just search through the archives and listen to me. You know what I'm saying? But I might can pull up a few of these Amorites mixing with these folks. Let me see if I can dig in some of this. But that's elementary knowledge, that we know that the Amorites mixed in with the Moabites and so forth. But let me see if I can just pull a little something up that'll give us some little ground to stand on, showing that them folks are mixed. Mixed, that's what mixed mean. All right. 33. Let's see what this say. All right, and there was the giants, the sons of Enoch. This is Numbers 13:33. And there was the giants, the son of Enoch, which come of the giants, and were as our own sight, daughters of grasshoppers. All right, and then let's go to Joshua 13:12. Let's see what that says. Joshua 13:12. Because then that's getting into the Amorite story right there. When we start, Joshua 13:12. And I just found a whole bunch of little pages with the Amorites. Alright. All the kingdom of Og, Bashan. This is Joshua 13:12. And all the kingdom of Og, Bashan, and Ring, and Ashtaroth, and Edrei, who remain of the giants. For these did Moses smite and cast out. Nevertheless, the children of Israel spared not. All right, we didn't get rid of them folks. All right, so but we know that they was there, the giants. And the giants is the Nephilims and all them serpent folks. But let me find something about the Joshua 17, 15. Let's see what that's about. Alright, so we know that we didn't drag them folks out the land. That's all basically this saying. But the Kenites in the hills. Alright, let's find some with them Amorites. Just had something. Amorites. Alright, and therefore the 5 kings of the Amorites, the king of Jerusalem, king of Hebron, Lishna, and Egon, and all them came together to make war against us. Alright, but I got some part where them folks, where I can show them that the Amorites mixed with the Ammonites and all them mixed up together. I just got to search. I didn't just necessarily mean to hit on that. But let me see. There's some in here. There's some in here. Yeah, Sihon and all took over the Moabites and the Ammonites. You know what I'm saying? Took their land from them. All did, and they become part of the Amorite heritage. It would just be kind of petty. I gotta have this already. Yeah, let's find something. Yeah, so the Ammonites mixed with a whole lot of tribes. They took over everything. The Ammonites did, and the Ammonites, and the Moabites were kindred, but the Amorites all took them over. All took them over, and they become one. They become one. Let's see. Canaanites, the chariots, the Bashan, and they become one. They become one. Let's go to Judges, because we were dealing with them devils in Judges. And then I should be able to pull something up in Judges. And this is off. We see Edom in the land. Let's see if I went to Jeremiah, about the Ammonites and Jeremiah, and then that'll lead me to some other verses, but let's see. I'm down in the 30s. That's off. Now watch, when I get to it, it'll be like I done passed it already. But all took over the Ammonites. That was an Amorite king, and he took over the Ammonites, and the Ammonites was screwed in. Alright, this off. And I can't believe this. Let's see, in the 20s. Ammonites mingle people, but they was the mingle people. And the mingle people, were the Semites. And those are the peoples that's all mixed up. All the mingle people, all the kings of the land of Oz, the kings of the land of Philistine, Ashkelon, Edom. See, many named all the, Jeremiah named all the mingle people, all the people that had mixed together. We was told not to mix with them folks. And this is Jeremiah 25:20, and all the mingle people, all the kings of the land of Uz, and all the kings of the land of Philistine, Ashkelon, Uzzah, Ekron, and the remain of Ashdod, Edom, Moab, and the children of Ammon, and the king of Tyrus, and the king of Zidon. And you know what I'm saying? It goes on. Look, Timah, many goes on, and all the kings of Arabia, all the kings of the mingled people that dwelled in the desert. Now these are the Semitic folks right here. These are the Semitic folks, and Edom gonna be Semitic too, because Edom gonna be them fused in with them folks, as you see Edom name right here with them. You see what I'm saying? Edom, Moab, and Ammon. Those are the Semitic people. And then they had all mingled together. They had all mingled together. So then if they all mingled together, then that's where that word Semitic come from. You see, that word Semitic don't apply to Ashkenazi. It don't apply to Ashkenazi, but he'll hide behind it. Ashkenazi will hide behind the word Semitic, but it don't apply to him because Ashkenazi come from a whole nother route and a whole nother place. And he wasn't mixed. Now, there is a Semitic part of Ashkenazi. It's going to be the Sephardic. The Sephardic is a Ashkenazi in the Sephardi's mix. So that's the Semitic part, or the Semite part of the Ashkenazi branch. Is going to be the Sephardic. They share a common root, you know what I'm saying, men together. But they main root is Amorite. They main root is Amorite. I don't know why I can't find this, and I've been had this, and soon as I come up out the scriptures, it's gonna be popping up everywhere. And I be hating that with a passion. It infuriates me. Alright, let's see what this say. Alright, and there gathered the children of Ammon and Amalek and went to smote Israel. Alright, see, but you see, the Moabites and the Ammonites, they look all them together. And gathered unto him the children of Ammon, Amalek, went and smote Israel and possessed the city upon. So the children of Israel served, the Moabite, 18 years. You know what I'm saying? All right. But all them folks had mixed together. Our enemies had mixed together. All our enemies mixed together. All our enemies mixed together, and they was moving against us together. They was moving against us together. And we was told not to fool with them folks. And we did. And we paid a grievous price. Because, we in bondage to them now, a system that they created. But I'm finna go back into that word Semitic. I just want to see if I can find it. I'm just real mad that I can't find showing that the Amorite link that Og took over the the Moabites and the Ammonites, and he was an Amorite. And then, from there, all of them mixed. But Prophet Jeremiah saved the day by showing all the mingled people and all the tribes. All those will be Semitic right here. Look. And all the mingled people, that's the mixed people, and all the kings of the land of Uz, all the kings of the land of Philistine, Ashkelon, and Ahaz, and Ekron, and the remain of Ashdod, Edom, and Moab, and the children of Ammon. See, all them had become Semitic. You know what I'm saying? All them had become Semitic. And that's where the word Semitic come from, because they had for everything. Now this is what an Israelite got to do, to stay out of being called Semitic or anti-Semitism, is that you have to use correct Israelite history. You cannot use the Jewish people history and then claim it as our own. That's anti-Semitic. That's anti-Semitism, because you taking away the history that they done acquired that we abandoned. See, they got a history, and you have to pinpoint it. Now, I already showed that how the Amorites got into our heritage by tricking Prophet Joshua. You know what I'm saying? He was the leader during that time, and he was responsible. And then how the Gabonites tricked us. The Gabonites tricked us, and then made us think that they had come from a long way when they was close, but they was Amorites. they was Amorites, and we was supposed to destroy them folks. And then we made them carriers of the water for the temple, that whatever congregation we would have, so they always around our heritage. So we gonna say, man, that they got into our heritage in 1406 BC. So you see, that's the timeline, and we can do it with a timeline. That's when the Amorites got into our heritage, and the Amorites are the Sephardists. You know, they from Sippar, from Babylon, a certain branch of them. The important, most serious branch of them is from Babylon, but they settled in our land during Assyrian times. Now, they was already there now because they Amorites, but the most serious ones that created capitalism, that kept control of the Babylonian gods, and that created capitalism, trading everywhere, and got dominance everywhere. The ones that was in Sodom and Gomorrah, who had all the wealth that Prophet Abraham didn't want no parts of. Them, well, a branch of them was placed in our land in 722 BC while we was on Egyptian religion. Now there's a lot going on with the Israelite heritage, man. A lot of y'all gonna have to watch some of these videos to get caught up to, the speed of what's going on. But the Egyptians had tricked us out of our heritage. They had to do trade on the other side of the promised land, so it was very important that they keep us on their gods, and then their gods is the same gods as the Mesopotamian gods, the fallen angelic beings, the serpent children, and then how that they tricked us over and over and over until we was driven out the land. And when we finally got driven out the land, we forgot about the folks that we had placed in our heritage a long time ago, that was Amorites, that was hanging around the temple. So then that when we get driven out, they got our heritage from the Babylonian wars on down, both groups. Now you count from the Babylonian wars around about 588 BC to now, meaning they got about 2,700 years of history. And then within that 2,700 years of history, man, they done built up, man, a lot of history, and they done did a lot of things under the Israelite title. To how is you gonna come take that away from them in one day, in one stroke? They not going out like that. They not going out like that. They not finna let you do them like that. So they got words and meanings, man, to protect themselves against that. And for the ignorant and the unknowing that believe in those words and the meanings that they give, then, man, they gonna prosecute you, and the whole world gonna be against you. And I done already told you that they done made it law. Man, that's a hate crime, meant to be an anti-Semite, because they say that you hating on the Jewish people and that you hate them and got prejudice against them. We Israelites shouldn't fall into the anti-Semite category, because we can use correct history that don't belong to the Semites. We can use history that don't belong to the Semites. Ain't no way in the world they gonna be able to say that the Semites abandoned the covenant and ran into Africa during the Babylonian wars and lived. Come on now. That ain't gonna sit right. But we got proof that the Israelites went into Africa to live, and then it was even a derogatory name that they used in here in the plantation era that the Greeks used against us, because they was like our number one enemy. The Greeks, the Romans, after we ran into Africa, after the Greeks defeated the Persians, who protected the exiles. The exiles was knocked off real fast. Don't forget, we got folks hanging around the temple that wanted our heritage and knew what they can do with it since we was playing with it. And then when they finally got it, man, that is hard to come back and just us claim an Israelite heritage and not know that them folks had an Israelite heritage for a long time. And when you claim any of their heritage, any of their history, man, that's gonna be an anti-Semite. You claiming history that don't belong to you. See, Israelites think all Israelite history, no matter what the title and who wrote it, that it's ours and it's us. Israelites don't know that we abandon our heritage to the folks that's claiming the Israelite heritage today. That's why you don't see the curses on them and they history don't match biblical prophecy. All right, look, these are the folks that created capitalism, that moved into our land, that create words. They created words. I show how the Amorites founded America and so forth. You know, how these same group of people come over to the Americas. Look, in the king of Assyria, this is 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 24. And as I explained, the Israelite Brotherhood made them change that word. Sepharavim made them change it. It don't change in the Sephardi no more. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cutter and from Abel and from Hamath and from Sepharavim and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children Israel. And they possessed Samaria and dwelt in the cities thereof. So they dwelt in the cities thereof. Man, these folks got thousands of years going all the way back to man, to the Tower of Babel and how they still around. Let me just put it like that, because they part of the Nephilims, the giants. All right, you see that right there, Israelites? All right, you see that? That's where them folks from, Sipper right there. That's where they from, Sipper and Nipper. And then and those are like the twin cities. You couldn't be a king unless you got crowned it there. And then how Sipper and how it functioned, the whole Babylonian territory, you know what I'm saying? The whole Babylonian territory. And look, your boy, Hamabari code is what we living under now today. Man, it's like I just showed the Israelites how the word global translate into a global. Look, globalization, global, light of Baal, all over the earth is what globalization means. That's all it means. Baal worshippers in charge, because we never did destroy the Amorites. And the Amorites are in control of Western culture. They're in control of Western culture. Where them folks placed in our land here, from here. And then when they got placed in our land in 722 BC, they was already been through the Sumerian, Akkadian, and the Assyrian empires and so forth. But them other two civilizations, you know, they mastered them, and to where from Babylon they created what's called Western culture. That's what we living in today. How they can legislate your health away. Your health is down to legislation now, and they can legislate your health away. Is what's happening to the Israelites right now. Well, these peoples right here created that word Semitic, and I'm gonna show you. And I'm gonna show you one of them. Yes. Man, we Israelites, man, got to go up against a whole lot. It's awful. We got to go up against so much, but that's the way Almighty Yah made it. All right, this dude right here. This dude right here created the term. Look, he's you could tell he's a Sephardi. You can look at him and tell he's not just a Ashkenaz. And he might be a Sephardi, but he looked like a Sephardi. And then this dude would go and then create the word anti-Semitism, anti-Semitic. Now they creating words to protect themselves. Now we know that they got a lot of pull. The bankers, man, the bankers control the politicians. So it ain't, and then they the bankers. It ain't nothing to get a word in. They the founders of the universities. They be on all the boards and everything. So it ain't nothing to get a word in. And then once they get that word in, then that word become legal. And then from that word become legal, you can get prosecuted. Well, this the dude that they created the word anti-Semitism, anti-Semitic. And if you read his history, oh man, he been dealing with the Israelite history all his life. All his life. So they're going to try to protect their investments and so forth. They're going to try to protect their investments, man. And that's what they've been doing when they create them words. Anti-Semitic, anti-Semitism. See, an Israelite can't be no anti-Semitic but because we are Israelites. And they are using our history. So how are we going to be anti-Semite, anti-Semitic? It ain't making sense. I got a video going into it. Look. In 1878, a statute of the Anti-Semitic League, the origin of anti-Semitic terminology, is found in the response of that dude right there that I just showed you. And they got an anti-Semitic league to the views of such and such Alex being and the rights. Compound anti-Semitism appears to have been used first by that dude. You know what I'm saying? That I showed you. And then I tell you that the Babylonian scribes, man, they create words. And those words become part of their administrative structure that they created. So if you Israelites are using the Jewish people history, Ashkenazi and Sephardi history, then you're going to be an anti-Semite. Because you're taking away their history and claiming it as your own. And instead of just claiming our history only. See, if you claim our history only, then you can't be no anti-Semite. Because you're not using the Semitic people's history. And the Semitic people are not the Israelites that ran into Africa during the Babylonian Wars. See, that's why come they hurry up, man, and took that video down. That man, I might try to get a lawsuit against them for discriminating. But because how they took that video down, and they ain't talking about no COVID, ain't cussing, ain't talking threatening the rabbis or saying anything negative. I'm just showing how he purposely overlooked the Israelite history with the Israelites going into Africa during the Babylonian Wars when he was explaining world Israelite history. And man, I'm talking about, man, he named all the ones in Russia, China, India, Iran, he even all in Africa with the Ethiopians, the Limbas and the Falashas, and he over there with the with the with the Igaboos and man everywhere. But he ain't never not one time mentioned that's that Henry Abramson. Not one time did he mention that the Israelites ran into Africa during the Babylonian Wars and been there way before the other groups even come about, and how we stopped claiming an Israelite heritage. We abandoned our Israelite heritage. Now, I don't know if you Israelites understand that, but we abandoned, saying that we don't want nothing to do with the Israelite heritage, and we went into Africa to live. Those are the people that the Sephardians caught up, the Sephardim caught up in the transatlantic slave trade and removed us to the serpent culture where we been. You know, the serpent ruled, you know what I'm saying, America in ancient days. Yes, the serpent kings. All right. Now let's show us abandoning the covenant, saying we don't want nothing to do with the covenant. And then I can even show what the Creator said it was over with anyway. Let me show this before it even got to that part. Look, this is Jeremiah 17. The sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron and the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their hearts, upon their horns of their altars, while as their children remember their altars and their groves by the green trees upon the high hills, the clubs and stuff. O mountains in the field, I will give the substance of all thy treasures to the spoil, and thy high places for sin throughout all thy borders, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from the inheritance that I gave thee, and I will cease, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall be burnt. And this said the Lord, cursed be the man that trusteth in man and maketh flesh his own. That's them Jesus worshippers. Almighty, y'all know what time it was back then. But you see how it was over with, and then because Almighty Yah said it was over with, because we kept playing with them Egyptian religions. We kept playing with the Egyptian religions. You know, man, I turned right to that page. Look, son of man, this is Ezekiel 23. Son of man, there was two women, the daughters of one woman, and they committed whoredoms. And they committed whoredoms in Egypt, and they committed whoredoms in their youth. And there were their breasts pressed, and there they bruised the tents of their virginity. And the name of them were Ahala, the elder, and Abala, her sister. And they were mine, and they bare sons and daughters. This was their name. Samaria is Ahala, and Jerusalem is Abala. So, you know, we was messed up with the Egyptian religion. And then when Almighty Yah finally said that it was over with, and that he gonna discontinue our heritage, we did this old stupid stuff. If you go to Jeremiah 44, and you get to 15, 16, 17, look. Then all the people which knew that their wives had burnt incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwelled in the land of Egypt, and Pathros answered Jeremiah, saying, as for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Elohim, we will not hearken unto thee, but we will certainly do so whatever thing go forth out of our own mouth, to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings, our princes, in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then had we plenty of victuals, food, and were well, and saw no evil. But since we left off, since we stopped burning incense unto the Queen of Heaven, and pouring out drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things, and have been consumed by the sword and by famine. And I show in detail, and this is what they don't want to discuss, the Israelites going into Africa. See, that's not Semitic. That's our history, and we can only use our history is that those Israelites that ran into Africa, all the tribes, and I got plenty of videos showing all the tribes was there, never come back out. Never come back out to be reunited with those Hebrews right there that come back from the Babylonian captivity. The Queen of Heaven worshipers never came out of Africa to be reunited with the exiles. We are them. We fulfilled the curses. Ain't no question about that. Now, that's not Semitic history. That's Tanakh history. That's our history. But if you start talking about we went into Africa in 70 AD because her Edomite temple was burnt up, you're going to be using Jewish people history. And if you try to place Israelites in any land, in any of these lands outside of Africa before the transatlantic slave trade, you're going to be using the Jewish people history. You're going to be using Semitic people history, because the Israelites wasn't in all these lands. Some of y'all gritting your teeth and it's making you sick because you don't want to believe that we wasn't everywhere. Yeah, we everywhere now when he talking about the four winds, because the United States military is all over the earth and we still in captivity. So you scattered to the four winds for sure. But you wasn't scattered to the four winds before the transatlantic slave trade, because we only ran into one place. And this keep you out of the Semitic history is when you showed that we ran into Africa during the Babylonian wars, because you stand within Tanakh. But if you go outside that and start claiming all these far, we in Spain, we the kings and queens in Spain. Oh, how we rule Europe. Oh, we the Eagle Bulls. Now, the Eagle Bulls and the Limbas and all those folks are Semitic. They share a Semitic origin. Even the Jews claim them and say, yeah, man, because the Sephardim, part of the Sephardi family groups that mix with the they are Semites. They went into Africa and mixed and did tribes and created tribes, and that be them folks right there. And that's why come the Jews claim them and kind of kick it with them, and they ain't just talking crazy to them, because they know that they people back in the days doing trade across Africa went into the interior of Africa. That's how they found us, and then converted certain groups And then this what make you a anti-Semite, anti-Semitic is if you're knocking Judaism. Judaism is a religion that they created off the Israelite heritage. That they created off the Israelite heritage, that they rabbis give explanation for our history and so forth. So you can't claim that. That's their history. And then if you try to say, we Jews, no, you're an anti-Semite. Because for the simple reason that the Jews are Ashkenazi and Sephardi. Sephardi got claimed to the Semitic title because he mixed with all the ancient tribes. He mixed with all the ancient tribes, but Ashkenazi don't. But he hide up under the Semitic umbrella. So whenever you Israelites parading around talking about we was here and we was there and we did all this before the transatlantic slave trade and how we was kings and queens and ruled everywhere and we just all in Americas and we had everything. You are an anti-Semite. You're anti-Semitic because you taking away their history. You using their history. So if you an Israelite and you using other folks' history, if you using the Jews' history, you's an anti-Semite. You's an anti-Semite. That's it. And they got you right because you don't know. Now, if you say we the Israelites that went into Africa that broke the covenant during the Babylonian Wars, then they can't put the anti-Semite title on you because you showing this. The Tanakh back this. We are the living proof that it happened because of the curses and the prophecies that come to pass on us about our destruction and so forth. They don't even want to play with that. That's why come they took that video down, the world's greatest hidden secret. They know it's the world's greatest hidden secret because they've been controlling Western culture and they can keep that information out. It's been kept out to now. By the grace of Almighty Yah, we know now, we know in detail. We don't have to use the Jewish people history to try to say it's us. Because then, when the Israelite doing that, he escaping responsibility. We broke covenant. Them folks ain't saying they broke no covenant and they in bondage and how they sorry to Almighty Yah. That's something we gotta do. So, if you using the Jewish people's history, point blank, using anti-Semite, and Israelites use the Jewish people history, not knowing our cutoff date, not knowing that we only got 800 something years in the promised land, about 818 years in the promised land, and then how after that our history ceased, and the people we abandoned our heritage to, the Gabonites that was Amorites and the Nethinims and all them folks that we put around our temple and around our heritage so that when we ran off, they got it. And then they created their history. And then from the Babylonian Wars, we're going to say from Greek history on down, it is Jewish history. And if you tamper with it and touch anything after the Greek era, after 332 BC, really after the book of Jeremiah, 430 BC, if you touch any history after that, you is an anti-Semite because you're going to be using their history and you're going to be taking away from them trying to claim it as yours. And Israelites do that. We some history pirates. We're not the Israelite Brotherhood, but Israelites are history pirates. They steal other Israelites' history. That's like Israelites be way over here in America, swapping down. We've been here. I was in a restaurant with a sister the other day. We was discussing, and she gonna say, I'm a Native American. Hair nappy as I don't know what, looking just like the transatlantic slave trade. Descendants. So then I said, well, how is that? She said, well, my people could. So then I had to explain to her that the natives held us in slavery just like our enemies did. They was the enemies too, and that all natives held Israelites in captivity, and the Hispanics too. And the only reason some got free, meaning to help the Seminoles and so forth, it is because they didn't escape And then the Seminoles had to go light on them because they see how them Israelites fight and whoop them other folks. So they, help the Seminoles. But they not us. They not us. And because of the technology we had, we could build houses. We didn't live in animal skins. We could build houses. We domesticated animals. Man, we did a lot of stuff that you can find in the Tanakh that America had an overabundance of resources. So we would have used and built the same culture that we had in the promised land. We would have doubled it over here because of all the resources. No Israelites here to the transatlantic slave trade. I show you how we build all America national monuments and so forth. So, you Israelites be anti-Semite, using anti-Semite when you taking the Jewish people history. And the Jewish people history is going to be all the history that we abandoned to them. And we abandoned everything during the Babylonian Wars, all the tribes. It wasn't never any 10 lost tribes. Everybody ran into Africa. So if you using the Jewish people history, use an anti-Semite. They got you right. You should know about it. You should know the Tanakh. You should know the Tanakh. And if you using their history, you don't know the Tanakh history, and you really don't know world history. That's like a lot of Israelites, man, they be sounding smart, and, oh, man, we did this, and we did that, and we was King Philip's bodyguard, and we was way over in Alaska, fishing and all kind of stuff, man. Israelites make up all kind of stuff, man. I'm talking about that junk be pure crazy. How we was in Japan and went to the Philippines and went to Vietnam, and Israelites, how everybody is an Israelite to an ignorant Israelite. An ignorant Israelite that use Semitic people history, it's like the worst thing walking around to me. I almost like the demigod worshippers and so forth. I'd be furious with them because, man, you're using the Jewish people history and you don't know yet. You don't know that Sephardi and Ashkenazi been around for a long time and that they do have a history. That's why they created them titles to safeguard their history. Use an anti-Semite if you take their history and try to use it. Or hate on them because they got a history. We can't forget we abandoned our heritage to them during the Babylonian Wars. Ashkenazi chased us into Africa under the name Scythian. Under the name Scythian. Under the name Scythian, he chased us into Africa because the Creator told him to. We wouldn't stop doing the Egyptian religion. So he sent for the worst of the worst. He sent for them folks that can get us up off the land. The other folks couldn't get us up off the land. They couldn't get us up off the land. We'll whoop them, the Moabites, the Ammonites, the Amorites. We whooping them. But when he sent for Ashkenazi, the Scythians, we got up off the land when we seen them with them crossbows and them horses, and then they could shoot on horses. And then when they get you, they cut your body parts up and put it on a horse and ride around with it. We didn't want no parts of that. And how we took off into Africa, man, to live. Now, if you don't understand that Ashkenazi is the Scythians and they one and the same peoples, now they done broaden that name to, to include some lot of little Caucasus groups and so forth, but how Ashkenazi predominantly was the Scythians, and how did they come in with the Chaldeans, after they destroyed Assyria. And then they come into our land and chased us out. And then we so smart aleck and low down that we said we going to do the Egyptian religion because we did better when we was doing it. Stockholm Syndrome. And then we took off into Africa, never to be seen to now, trying to put it together. And all the history before now is going to be Jewish people history. When you talking about the Jews in all these other lands, before and after the transatlantic slave trade, That's their history, and that's not the people that broke the covenant history. So if you using their history, use an anti-Semite. Use an anti-Semite, man. You using history don't belong to you. You using history don't belong to you. You taking away from them. So use an anti-Semite if you using Jewish history. Now, you know what I'm saying? Can you stay away from using Jewish history? Yes, easy. All you got to do is study the Israelite Brotherhood history. I got thousands of hours dedicated into this to make sure that you can't get the anti-Semite title. You know, Jews today label their critics as being anti-Semitic as if the term refers to an ethnic group or loosely a race. You know what I'm saying? They're claimed thereby a Semitic origin, but the term Semitic, properly speaking, refers only to a group of languages and an ethnic and cultural, and not an ethnic and cultural racial groups. The Semitic languages are supposed to have originated in northern Arabia, according to most authorities, and having living type languages, and that language is family in Arabic. Well, I just showed you how the prophet Jeremiah showed you all the mingle folks was, and we know that the word semi means half, and that the Amorites were half of everybody, half of everybody. Man, I just can't understand why come I can't find that pond that showed that the Amorites all took over the Amorites. Og the Amorite took over the Moabites and everything. He gave them to his daughter. The Og did. I just don't understand. It be like that sometime when I just want something real bad to show, and then I just, man, it ain't here. But soon as I finish this video, it's gonna pop up. It's gonna pop up. Let's see. Yeah, man, them folks mix. All in them folks mix with the Ammonites, and the Ammonite and the Amorite and the Moabite is kindred. It's kindred, and they was one. Let me see, 17. No, this just showing we didn't drive them out. And then how we made them folks put them folks in our heritage. We put them folks in our heritage. That's why come we can't get mad. Because we put them folks in our heritage. We put the peoples in our heritage, the Semitic peoples. We put the Semitic people in our heritage during Joshua days with the Gabonites. They was Amorites. And being that they was Amorites, and man, that's a done thing when we ran into Africa, abandoning everything to them, because they are the masters of civilization. Babylonian civilization. They've been through the Sumerian, Akkadian, Assyrian civilization. They done had empires everywhere, and then they done did trade in ancient lands. So they got a lot of technology with administrative governing. Alright, Israelites, this is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood. Let me repeat this one more time. That how you Israelites cannot be anti-Semite if you using correct Israelite history. But if you ain't using correct Israelite history, then you's gonna be a anti-Semite. It ain't no getting around it, because you using the Jewish people's history, and you have to know the difference. This is a message from the Israelite Brotherhood.